Today I have the pleasure of welcoming Benedikt Prand-Stritzko from Aurelia Horology. Hello, Benedikt.
Hello there.
It's a pleasure of having you here. We just had a tour of our facilities and you saw all the crazy materials we have, all the straps we make. I guess you've gotten quite some ideas.
Absolutely, yeah.
Perfect. You're here because you have created your own watch brand. I think it's a very, very cool one. It's an incredible step to create your own watch brand, but I think it's super fascinating. You're here to tell us a little bit about your watches.
So thank you once again for having me.
My pleasure.
And thank you very much for the wonderful journey through your company. It's so amazing to see what is possible. It's also very amazing for me to see that something like this is possible in Austria. There is not much of a watch industry here if you compare it to other countries around us. For starting a watch company, that was a difficulty, but we managed it quite well so far.
Okay. Well, what was your journey like? Like, when did you know that you want to create your own brand?
There's a bit of a backstory there. I attended the only watchmaking school in Austria and got the opportunity to work at H. Moser in Switzerland.
That's a cool opportunity to get. Yeah.
That was absolutely wonderful and I learned a lot there. Then I met the love of my life. Soon after that, my first daughter was born, Aurelia, and I decided I want to go back to Austria and I want to become independent in the space that I like the most in watchmaking. So I started to design and develop movements for other companies, but then one day I said I want to build a watch just for my own. I realized really quickly it is easier to do 10 watches than one. It's almost the same effort for 10 watches as for one. Then I started to think a little bit bigger because there was a lot of interest and we started our first public collection that sold out very quickly, and we recently shipped our very first watches.
Yeah, very nice.
All over the world. That was very surprising for us as well. We are a very small team here in Austria. The feedback was very positive and we are going full in that direction now.
Cool. Very, very cool. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You just launched your first collection. Let us talk a little bit about your collection and the journey you had to get there.
As I mentioned, there was a lot of difficulties to start. When you start off a company, it's not so easy to talk to suppliers and to get the feedback that you would like. So we thought, okay, let's do everything ourselves that we can do. We started with the project. For me, as a movement developer, it was very important that the movement is very special. And for me, it's the heart of a watch. So it was obvious for me to develop something in that space. On the other hand, it's very difficult to develop a movement from scratch and it's very cost intensive. So we tried to go in a direction in between, that we use a base movement, but throw everything away that we can produce ourselves. That's the first movement that we created.
Very cool.
For the case, I developed the case in-house and then we went to a place to machine it, but we finish everything as well by ourselves. That's the same story for the dial and for the hands.
You were wearing your watch, the first edition. You had a founder's edition that sold out very quickly with the Email dial, which was very nice, and I appreciate that you tackled this crazy dial because I love Email dials. Tell us a little bit more about this first edition. What are the significant features of it?
After the Founders Edition, we decided, okay, when we want to build a bigger number of watches and to ship it everywhere, we decided, okay, 20 is now the limited edition. For us, it was a really big number in the first place. And I decided, okay, I want to make a dial similar in design for this version, not with an email dial, but something very special as well. And so we went to Switzerland to a highly specialized dial manufacturer, and we have now that applied and polished arch element that's milled, which was very difficult for the dial supplier, and we had to switch in between. That was a challenge for its own. We have now those dials. We have the same case as in the Founders Edition. It's 40.5 millimeter stainless steel, and I have developed this by myself. We have a very big space movement, and I have not the biggest wrist, so I wanted to make the case around the movement as small as possible.
I appreciate that very much. Because I don't have a big wrist myself, and I appreciate smaller watches, and it wears very well.
Thank you so much. So we also thought about designing a watch with a relatively small lug to lug, because that's also a really important measurement, and we have now 49 millimeters, so that works quite well. We have our basic movement in that we completely finish in-house. We mill the bridges, then we hand finish everything. We have a grainage finish, so that's very old technique. We have the possibilities to go in different directions as a small company. So we try to bring those old techniques back into the watches.
Cool.
Yeah, then we galvanize them with rhodium. And of course we do manual anglage everywhere. That was kind of the direction for the Edition 1 movement. And we also have the Edition 2. That's a similar movement, but with another layout for the gears. So then we have the small second at 10 o'clock and the crown at 4 o'clock.
I do prefer the blue dial over the green dial.
Absolutely. So I do understand that. For me, if I had to decide, I would go for the blue. Maybe.
Yeah.
Also, on the other hand, I couldn't decide in the beginning, so I decided, okay, let's build both editions.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? As I mentioned, there are a lot of similar parts there, so we figured let's do both editions.
Both editions are sold out already?
Exactly. So we launched.
Congratulations.
In March, thank you. They sold out within a week. It was wonderful, of course, but there come some problems with that as well, because we thought we had a little bit more time to produce those watches. And as I mentioned, we just recently shipped the first one, and that's a very big milestone for us. We're looking forward to delivering every single watch from Edition 1 and 2 this year. Then we have the next editions planned as well.
That's very cool. And you do a lot in Austria. This is something that I find especially fascinating, because like Austria is not particularly known for watchmaking. We have a couple of cool watch brands, Karlsruhe, Habring, which is very established in the watch industry, won a couple of GPHG awards, and now you.
Yeah, so we are just starting out, but we have some plans in the future. It was very important for me to get a lot of the parts either in-house produced, and of course the finishing is completely in-house, but also for the parts we can't produce ourselves, that we find partners around us. Of course we have some specialized partners in Switzerland, because there's a lot of know-how
of course
there. But for the enamel dials, for example, we tried to get the process right. That was a project of over 2 years, and we are not quite there yet. A lot of work went into that.
Okay.
In Austria there are a lot of very high-tech companies in the machine industry.
Yeah.
There is a lot of know-how. Since we don't have really a watchmaking industry, they have other fields that they're very good in. I was very surprised, and it was wonderful to see when we reach out to those companies, they are very open-minded to that new direction, and we found now some very competent partners in that field that are world leaders in their field, and now they work with us for watchmaking components. That's wonderful for both sides, because they get to know a new field, and we get to produce parts right around the corner, and we are very happy that that's the direction we are heading for.
That's very fantastic. Thank you, Benedikt, for showcasing the watch, for coming here. Do you want to maybe give a little teaser of what is coming?
Yes. So we have our next editions planned. So there will be a new edition of the Edition 1.
Yeah.
But we tried to improve on every single part. So there will be a redesigned movement. We try to implement as much of our know-how that's possible. We want to showcase what's possible in that price range. So there will be a 40.5 millimeter version, similar to the Edition 1, but with upgrades in every aspect. And there will be a smaller version of that. As I mentioned, our base movement is quite large. We have to develop a new movement with the similar background. So we use a base movement, but throw away everything as well. Try to implement our design language in that as well. So it's aesthetically and technically comparable to the bigger movement. It will be 34 millimeters.
Yeah, very good. Good size.
Thank you. So initially it was I wanted to develop a watch for my wife.
Yeah.
So there is a new edition now for everybody. Those two models, and we are also working on a secret model. Our first complication, but that is something we will share more later on the way.
It's very good. I heard about the project and it's worth the wait. Thank you very much, Benedikt. I appreciate you coming here, talking about your watches. I really like what you've done, the journey that you've been on, and you're very open. We talked a little bit about watches, about the process, and potential projects that we could collaborate on. Thank you for coming here. I'll have the links to his website and his Instagram for you to check out.
We have our website. We're currently building a new one because in the beginning we started everything ourselves, so the website as well, we now redesigned that. But we also share insights on Instagram, share the processes from our workshop as well. So that could be interesting as well, I think.
Aurelia Horology, ladies and gentlemen. So that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. If you feel like it, put a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe. Here are 2 other videos for you to check out. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.